bad at like other sports, like any other sport that isn't tennis. I'm pretty bad at. So I haven't really had the.
She broke the Australian Open. The untold story of how Eala's chaotic first round made tennis history. Welcome back to Court Vision Plus, and if this is your first time here, let me tell you right now, you've just stumbled onto the only channel that gives you the raw, unfiltered truth about what's really happening in the tennis world. We don't just report scores, we tell you the stories behind the chaos, the drama, and the moments that make this sport absolutely electric. So do yourself a favor right now, hit that subscribe button, smash the notification bell, and while you're at it, subscribe to our brand new channel Court Vision Plus, because what we're about to dive into today is the kind of story that only comes around once in a generation. Let me paint you a picture. It's Monday morning in Melbourne, Australia. The sun is shining over Melbourne Park, and the Australian Open is just getting started. First-round matches are usually quiet affairs, a few hundred fans scattered across the outer courts, polite applause, maybe a lying judge falling asleep between points. It's civilized. It's traditional. It's tennis. But on this particular Monday, something was different. Something was brewing on Court 6 that would send shockwaves through the entire tournament, cause security to radio for backup, force organizers into emergency meetings, and even make Novak Djokovic himself stop and take notice. By mid-afternoon, Court 6 wasn't just full, it was bursting at the seams. Fans were being turned away by the hundreds. Security guards were sweating. The umpire looked genuinely concerned. And all of this chaos, all of this madness, all of this absolute bedlam was caused by one person, a 20-year-old left-hander from the Philippines ranked 49th in the world. Eala didn't just play a tennis match that day. She triggered an event. She created a phenomenon. She brought a basketball atmosphere to a tennis court and reminded everyone watching that this sport, for all its traditions and etiquette, is nothing without passion. What happened over the next 2.5 hours would spark debates about crowd behavior, expose the growing pains of a rising superstar, showcase one of the most dramatic comebacks you'll ever see, and ultimately ask a question that the tennis world is still trying to answer: is the Eala effect the best thing to happen to tennis in years, or is it a warning sign that things are getting out of control? Today, we're doing a complete deep dive. We're going to break down every single angle of this story: the bagel that shocked the world, the collapse that broke hearts across Southeast Asia, the American underdog who refused to be intimidated, the security nightmare that had officials scrambling, and the comments from one of the greatest players of all time that completely reframed how we should think about all of this. This is not just a match recap. This is a cultural moment. This is history. So buckle up, because we're about to take you inside the day that Eala broke the Australian Open. Let's rewind the clock a bit, because you can't understand the magnitude of what happened on Court 6 without understanding the journey that led there. 12 months ago, Eala was fighting through qualifying rounds at smaller tournaments. She was grinding, scrapping for ranking points, trying to break through. Fast forward to January 26, and she's walking into Melbourne Park as the 49th ranked player in the world with direct entry into the main draw of a Grand Slam. That leap, that transformation, is the stuff that sports movies are made of. But statistics only tell part of the story. What makes Eala different, what separates her from every other player in the top 50, is the army she brings with her. The Filipino diaspora is one of the most passionate, loyal, and vocal communities on the planet. When one of their own succeeds, they don't just watch, they mobilize. They organize. They show up in force. And when the Australian Open schedule was released showing that Eala, their hometown hero, their pride and joy, was scheduled to play her first-round match on Court 6, a venue that holds maybe 1,000 people if you pack them in tight, the reaction online was immediate and intense. Disrespectful, they said. She deserves a bigger stage. Do they not understand who she is? The organizers clearly didn't. Because what happened in the hours leading up to that match was unprecedented. Fans started lining up outside Court 6 hours before the scheduled start time. The line snaked around the precinct. People were checking social media for updates on when the gates would open. Filipino flags appeared everywhere, blue, red, white, and yellow stars waving in the Australian breeze. You could hear the chants echoing across Melbourne Park, "Alex! Alex! Alex!" This wasn't polite applause. This wasn't quiet appreciation. This was full-throated, unrestrained, passionate support. This was what you'd expect at a World Cup match, not a first-round tennis encounter. By the time the players walked onto the court, Court 6 was packed beyond capacity. Every seat was taken. People were standing in the aisles. Security was turning away hundreds of fans who simply couldn't fit. The atmosphere was electric, crackling with anticipation and emotion. And standing in the middle of all this chaos was a 20-year-old woman carrying the hopes and dreams of 115 million people on her shoulders. Now, let's talk about her opponent, because this story has a villain, and her name is Eala Parks. I use the word villain with respect, because Parks played her role to absolute perfection. She's an American ranked 99th in the world, known for her powerful serve and aggressive baseline game. On paper, this match was competitive. Both players had something to prove. But the moment Parks stepped onto Court 6 and saw the sea of Filipino flags, the wall of noise, the sheer intensity of the support for her opponent, she must have realized, this isn't just a tennis match. This is me against thousands. The first set was a masterclass in momentum. Eala came out like a woman possessed. Every forehand she hit seemed to pull energy directly from the crowd. Every winner was met with a roar that shook the cameras. Parks looked rattled from the very first point. She was misfiring, dumping balls into the net, looking around at the crowd as if she couldn't quite believe what she was experiencing. Eala broke her serve once. The crowd erupted. She broke again. The noise got louder. And then, impossibly, she broke a third time. The scoreline flashed up on the screen, 6-0. A bagel. In her Grand Slam main draw debut. Against a top 100 player. For 30 glorious minutes, it looked like we were witnessing the coronation of a new star. The crowd was in absolute delirium. People were crying tears of joy in the stands. High fives were being exchanged. Strangers were hugging. It felt like destiny. It felt like Eala was going to steamroll through this match, march into the second round, and make a deep run into the tournament. At that moment, she didn't look like the 49th ranked player in the world. She looked like a future top 10 champion. But here's the thing about tennis, it's a cruel, unforgiving sport. And the higher you fly, the harder the fall. The second set started, and something shifted. Eala Parks, to her immense credit, made an adjustment. Instead of wilting under the pressure of thousands of people actively rooting against her, she did something brave. She embraced it. She leaned into it. She became the villain. In her post-match interview, Parks said something that deserves to be framed. "I don't know what my record is with crowds against me, but it definitely puts a fire on me." That's champion mentality right there. That's the kind of mental toughness that separates good players from great ones. Parks started hitting her serve harder. She started celebrating her points with a little extra edge, staring down the sections of the crowd that were booing her. She stopped trying to win their approval and started using their hostility as fuel. And it worked. Her first serve started finding the corners. Her ground strokes gained depth and power. She was locked in. Meanwhile, something was happening to Eala. The perfect rhythm she'd found in the first set began to fracture. The adrenaline that had carried her through those opening 6 games started to become a problem. She was pressing. She was trying to hit winners from positions where she should have been playing safe. A forehand sailed long. A backhand found the net. A double fault crept in. And with each mistake, you could feel the mood in the stadium shift from jubilation to nervous tension. Now, this is where we need to talk about the elephant on the court, the crowd itself. Tennis, traditionally, is a sport built on silence and decorum. You clap politely after points. You stay quiet during serves. You respect both players. But the Eala army didn't get that memo. They brought football energy. They brought basketball noise. They were cheering during points. They were screaming when Parks missed a first serve. They were yelling out before the line judge had even made a call. The umpire was losing control. "Ladies and gentlemen, please, quiet during the rally," she pleaded over and over again. But it was like trying to stop a tidal wave with a sandcastle. And here's the irony, the cruel twist that makes this story so fascinating. The noise that had fueled Eala in the first set started to work against her in the second. Every time she made an error, the collective groan from thousands of fans was heavier than silence. Every time she set up to serve, someone would scream, "We love you, Alex," at the exact wrong moment, forcing her to step back, reset, breaking her concentration. It's the double-edged sword of being adored. You want that support. You crave that energy. But when it becomes a wall of sound, when every point feels like the weight of a nation is pressing down on you, it can be suffocating. Parks broke Eala's serve to go up 3-love in the second set. The cheers turned to anxious murmurs. The chants became desperate, pleading. Eala fought back, bringing it to 3-3, and for a moment, it looked like she might regain control. The crowd went absolutely ballistic. But the effort drained her. The emotional and physical toll of trying to surf that wave of expectation was starting to show. Parks, now fully embracing her role as the antagonist, reeled off the next 3 games. Set 2 to Parks, 6-3. We were going to a deciding set. And the mood in Melbourne had shifted from a party to a full-blown panic. The third set was painful. If you were wearing Filipino colors, if you'd invested emotionally in this moment, watching those final 30 minutes was heartbreaking. The momentum had completely swung. Parks was in the zone, serving bombs, dictating rallies, playing with the confidence of someone who'd figured out how to thrive in chaos. Eala, meanwhile, looked exhausted. Not just physically, but emotionally. The weight of the occasion, the debut, the crowd, the expectations, the pressure of representing an entire nation, seemed to be crushing her. The unforced errors piled up. By the end of the match, Eala had committed 20 unforced errors. In a sport as precise as tennis, that's a death sentence. You can have all the talent in the world. You can have the most passionate fans on earth. But if you're giving away free points at a Grand Slam, you will lose. Parks broke early in the third to go up 2-love. Then 4-2. The crowd tried desperately to lift Eala back into the match. They stomped their feet. They chanted until their voices were hoarse. But it wasn't enough. Parks closed it out 6-2. Final score, Alicia Parks defeats Alexandra Eala, 0-6, 6-3, 6-2. The silence that fell over Court 6 when match point was struck was deafening. It was the sound of thousands of hearts shattering simultaneously. But what happened next showed you everything you need to know about Alex Eala's character. As Parks celebrated her hard-fought victory, and it was a deserved victory, let's be clear, Eala didn't sulk. She didn't storm off the court. She didn't hide in the locker room and refuse to face the media. Instead, she stayed. She signed autographs. She took selfies with fans who were openly crying. She thanked the very people whose overwhelming support had, in some ways, contributed to the pressure that undid her. In her press conference afterward, she was pure class. She called the experience overwhelming but also heartwarming. She said, "I just hope that the support continues with the losses along with the wins." That sentence right there, that's the mindset of a future champion. That's someone who understands that building a career isn't about one match. It's about the journey. It's about learning from the losses and using them as fuel. But wait, the story doesn't end there. Because the ripples from this match reached all the way to the top of the tennis world. The chaos at Court 6 was so intense, so unprecedented, that when Novak Djokovic, yes, Novak Djokovic, the greatest player of all time, was asked about it in his press conference, he didn't brush it off. He engaged with it. He called it a good problem. Think about that for a second. The GOAT is being asked about a first-round match involving the world number 49, and instead of dismissing it, he validates it. Djokovic, who knows a thing or two about playing in front of hostile crowds, said that having too many fans is exactly what tennis needs. He pointed out that every tournament wants record-breaking attendance. He acknowledged that this kind of passion, this kind of energy, is good for the sport. And you know what? He's absolutely right. The debate raging online right now is fascinating. On one side, you have the traditionalists who are furious. They say the Filipino fans were disrespectful to Parks. They say the cheering during serves has to stop. They say tennis is turning into a circus, that the integrity of the sport is being compromised. But on the other side, you have the new school, the people who are screaming, "Wake up. Tennis needs this." They point to declining viewership numbers. They point to the fact that younger generations don't want to sit in silence for 3 hours. They want energy. They want emotion. They want to feel something. And if Alex Eala brings a football atmosphere to a tennis court, then maybe, just maybe, the sport needs to adapt to her rather than expecting her to conform to outdated standards. With increased marketability comes increased resources. Better coaching. Better physical training. Better travel accommodations. Better equipment. It's a virtuous cycle. But it also brings increased scrutiny. The next time Alex Eala steps onto a court, the cameras will be there. The expectations will be higher. People won't just be happy to see her play, they'll demand results. They'll expect wins. Can she handle that pressure? Based on everything we've seen, based on her maturity in defeat, based on the way she carries herself, the answer is yes. She's grounded. She's humble. She speaks with a wisdom beyond her 20 years. She doesn't make excuses. She doesn't blame the umpire or the crowd or the conditions. She owns her losses. And that, my friends, is the mark of a future world number one. I want to speak directly to the fans for a moment, especially the incredible Filipino supporters who brought so much energy to Melbourne Park. You are amazing. You showed the world what passion looks like. You made Court 6 the hottest ticket at the entire Australian Open. You reminded everyone that tennis, at its best, is a visceral, emotional, communal experience. But let's also learn from this together. Alex herself said the noise was overwhelming. Maybe next time, we save the loudest screams for after the point is won. Maybe we give her the space to concentrate during those crucial moments. We want to help her win, not add to the pressure. This is a learning process for everyone involved, for Alex, for the organizers who clearly underestimated what they were dealing with, and yes, even for the fans. We're all growing together. But please, don't stop cheering. Don't lose that fire. Don't let anyone tell you that passion has no place in tennis. Just channel it. Focus it. Make every match feel like a home game, but make it a home game she can win. So was the Australian Open a failure for Alex Eala? Absolutely not. She walked away with prize money. She walked away with ranking points. She walked away with global headlines. But most importantly, she walked away with knowledge. She knows now what it feels like to play on the biggest stage. She knows what it's like to handle expectations. She knows what works and what doesn't. She stood toe-to-toe with a top 100 player and bageled her in the first set. That proves the talent is real. The ceiling is sky-high. The loss is temporary. The class is permanent. She commanded the attention of an entire Grand Slam tournament. She made Novak Djokovic talk about her. She created a moment that will be remembered long after this year's champion is forgotten. The Australian Open 2026 will be remembered for many things, but for those of us who were paying attention, it will be remembered as the year the Queen of Southeast Asia announced her arrival. She's ranked 49th today. Where will she be by the end of the year? I'm predicting top 30, maybe even top 20. The talent is too obvious. The work ethic is too strong. The support system is too passionate. This is just the beginning of the Alex Eala era, and we are here for every single moment of it. We're going to be tracking her journey every step of the way. From Manila to Paris. From London to New York. from the highs of victory to the lessons of defeat. We'll be there with analysis, with context, with the stories behind the scores. Now I want to hear from you. Drop your thoughts in the comments right now. Was the crowd too loud? Did the Alex Maniac actually cost her the match? Can she crack the top 20 this year? What does she need to work on? Who do you want to see her play next? We read every single comment, and your insights make this community what it is. And listen carefully, if you enjoyed this deep dive, if you want more raw, unfiltered, tabloid-style tennis coverage that goes beyond the highlight reels and gives you the real story, you need to do 3 things right now. First, smash that like button. Seriously, hit it like Alex Eala hits a forehand winner. Second, subscribe to this channel and make sure you also subscribe to our brand new channel, Court Vision Plus, where we're bringing you even more exclusive content, deeper analysis, and stories you won't find anywhere else. And third, ring that notification bell so you never miss an upload. The tennis world is changing. New stars are rising. Old traditions are being challenged. And we are here to cover every moment of this revolution with the passion, energy, and honesty it deserves. The next chapter in the Alex Eala story is being written right now. Don't miss it. This is Court Vision Plus, reminding you to keep your eyes on the ball and your passion on the court. We'll see you in the next one.
Woo! Alex!
Hi
Alex!
everybody, it's Alex Eala here. I just wanted to thank you all so much for the support. The atmosphere these past few days have been completely amazing. Really bad at other sports, like any other sport that isn't tennis. I'm pretty bad at. So I haven't really